I am Professor Nino, and you are most welcome to the study of the Unnamed of Etruria. Of this civilization, almost everything is lost. Its voices are gone. Its markets, its quarrels, its little daily bargains, gone. But the ledger of one kingdom survives entire. Every transfer is set down in order. Every mark remains where it was made. Not a page is missing. We possess the whole record, and still we do not know what it records. Today's kingdom possessed a secret sought by alchemists for 1,000 years. It made gold, not from the earth, not by conquest. In sealed rooms before small furnaces, its adepts repeated one calculation millions of times, millions of failures, and then, once, the answer. At that instant, new gold entered the world. The furnaces burned in every province, day and night. No abbot commanded them. No king supplied the flame. Yet the work continued. The faculty describes this as administration. Administration does not burn through the night. This was observance. To let the furnace die was to fall silent during prayer. In time, the yield of a single furnace grew thin, but the furnaces did not go dark. Each house kept a copy of the kingdom's ledger. When one page was added in the north, the same page appeared in the south. When a false page was offered, the other houses refused it. The founder's manuscript survives. Every leaf of it. It has never been read. The faculty calls it technical, the word scholars use for a thing they cannot read. Computer historians insist otherwise. They claim to have read it themselves. This is possible. Scholars have defended stranger positions, yet a text that yields no meaning has not been read. And this unreadable thing sat in every house in the kingdom, not shelved in a library, but bound into the ledger itself, so that no man could keep his accounts without also keeping the founder's words. Not one of them opened it. A text that all men hold and no man reads is not a document. It is a relic. So we must read this kingdom by what its people did, and not by the scripture none of them opened. The first leaf of the ledger records the first yield of the furnaces. 50 pieces of gold. They have never moved. They cannot move. They could not have moved even on the morning they were made. The faculty is divided. Some call this an accident in the founding law. Others suspect design. I find the distinction unnecessary. The first fruit was made, set apart, and placed forever beyond human hands. We already possess a word for such an object. An offering. The pattern continues. Hoards lie still, year after year. The faculty calls this hoarding, the awkward childhood of a market that had not yet learned to circulate its coin. I do not read it so. This was not coin. It was votive. To keep it was the observance. Other hoards were said to be beyond all touch. Their true names had been lost. The ledger remembered the gold perfectly. It was the owner whom history had forgotten. The treasure remained visible to all. The chest remained sealed, and the one sound that could open it had vanished from the world. We come now to the founder. The manuscripts give a name, Flamellus Nakamoto. Beneath that name appeared the furnace, the ledger, and the law by which every copy would agree with every other. Then the name disappeared. No court record securely bears it. No birthplace can be attached to it. No portrait agrees with another. Later antiquarians opened the tomb traditionally assigned to him. It was empty. The faculty regards this as unhelpful. The faculty calls the rest anonymity. The faculty has a gift for naming a mystery and mistaking the name for an answer. A cluster of untouched gold is traditionally attributed to Flamellus. Whether it was truly his, the faculty cannot agree. I once taught that he had withdrawn from modesty, the author refusing the fruits of his own art. I no longer think so. Consider what we have found. A law that no man has read, a first fruit placed beyond use, gold preserved as offering, a law copied in every province, and a name to which no human life can be securely joined. The manuscript preserved the name. History lost the person to whom it belonged. There is an older pattern for this. The one who descends with the law is not always the one who composed it. Flamellus Nakamoto was not the lawgiver. He was the name given to the one who received the law. Yet, the ledger has one silence. It records when gold passed from one hand to another. It records the quantity. It records the order. It does not record why. It does not record what was promised. It does not record what came back. For that we depend upon a surviving scrap in the hand of an adept called Ladislaus. And there at last the gold becomes something else. On the 22nd day of the 5th month, 10,000 pieces of gold pass from one hand to another. The ledger records the transfer precisely. It records nothing in return, but the scrap of Ladislaus supplies the missing half. What came back was 2 round loaves. One exchange might be hunger. One exchange might be folly. But afterward, Ladislaus left the measure open. 10,000 pieces, 2 loaves, at any time so long as his coffers allowed. Commerce bargains. It waits for terms to be agreed. Here the measure was declared in advance. A bargain is negotiated. A rite is declared. A later fragment, also in his hand, records the end. Ladislaus could no longer keep the measure open. His furnaces no longer yielded thousands in a day, as once they had, and so the rite ended exactly where it had begun. Not at the table, but at the furnace. When the gold grew thin, the bread ceased to be offered. Later ages counted what Ladislaus had lost. They counted it again whenever the gold rose. But the alchemists of 1,000 years had never sought merely to make gold. They sought to turn one substance into another. Here, in the record, the operation succeeded. Gold became bread. Before we close, the question from our previous lecture: what did the oracle demand before it would answer? The third answer: the question itself. It asked for nothing else. It had already taken everything else. Now, a question from today's lecture. The furnaces never stopped. What were they making? 1. Gold. 2. The ledger itself. 3. Nothing. 4. Heat for the winter. I have formed my answer. I shall keep it until our next meeting. That is all for today. Let us meet again at the next lecture.